Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Mhuri yeZimbabwe kusangana zvekare pano paTV yacho patinenge tichikupa nyaya dzinenge dzichipisa zuva nezuva. Pane mashoko makuru makukutu atinawo takakubatira toda kuti munge muchiziva muzive zvese zviri kuitika nekuti zvinhu hazvina kumira zvakanaka. Zviri kunzi izvoni nemutauro ari kutaura panapa. Ndofunga nyaya iyoyo kune vamwe vakainzwa bati pane point kana kuti mafacts atoda kuti munzwe panapa. Pari kutaura pachinzi Nelson Chamisa akarambidzwa kunoona Job Scala panga ari kuchikuru maximum. Zviri kunzi vakamurambidza, ndofunga makamuona akamira pagedhi pamavhidhios mamwe ataitoposta panapa vachimurambidza kupinda kuti aone wiwa Scala. But after zvese izvozvo kwakaitika zvinhu zvakawanda wanda. Hapana Nelson Chamisa pavakasvevedzera demonstration. Tine nyaya yeconstitution futi iyi. Nezuro makaona kuti vakaitira kubulawayo anatenda biti vakablokiwa futi neThe Regime. Why vasiri kushevedzera demonstration? But pane mashoko andakafarira akataurwa naJob Scala. Akataura kuti tichaita call for action. Hatina kuziva kuti call for action yaakataura pachaitwa demo here kana kuti pachaitwa sei. But mhuri yeZimbabwe ndine mashoko makuru ari kubva panyaya dzaitaurika nezuro. Kubva panyaya yaEmmerson Mnangagwa yekutuma vanhu kunobloka nyaya yepress yana Tendai Biti, kwoita nyaya yeBBI yakambobuda kwoita nyaya yeDosia. Pane umwe mukuru wemuhurumende anga achitaurawo nyaya idzodzidzi ane chekuita muhurumende imomo aitodzitaura live. Saka ndoda kuti muzvinzwe panapa pachitaura nyaya dzacho. Ndofunga mavhidhiyo maviri mamwe achatevera muchange muchisangana nenyaya iyoyo. Ndakabata dzese nyaya dzacho, hapana nyaya ndisina kutora. Ndichida kuti ndikugovere munzwe kuti zvii zvaitaurika nezuro. Saka ndichakupai izvozvi, chiteererai munzwe zvaari kutaura.
By one Glenn Mpani or something like that, and then Professor Jonathan Moyo is being said to have contributed to that document. And in that document, what is being proposed, or what is being proposed is that the only amendment that needs to happen is a repeal of Section 92 of the Constitution. And when they've repealed Section 92 of the Constitution, it then allows the tenure of Emmerson Mnangagwa to come to an end as soon as the 22nd of December, 2025. And when that happens, the electing of the president, I don't know which section they would then enforce to say that the election of the president will be done through, parliament. And then they are speaking of a dimming, provision, which says that by the act of parliament or by the selection of parliament, Emmerson Mnangagwa is deemed to have been elected for a new 5-year term that commences in December 2025 and ends in December 2030, thereby giving him a new, fresh 5-year term. But the period that he is served now, from 2023 to this period, where if this is enacted or if this is made possible, he would have served just 2 years and 3 months. And they are saying that a full term starts from 3 years, and anyone who serves below the full term or below the 3 years, that time period that they've served is not considered as a full term. And that is being put out there as a possible route to achieving the 2030 agenda. Help me understand, Senator Monzora, if this even make any sense. Is this even possible that we can be, that scenario can happen, and Emmerson Mnangagwa via that route whereby they only deal with Section 92, repeal Section 92, and then that then means that if they repeal that, and the argument is the time period is shortened. The one that you would have served now, what is it comes to an end. They are looking at doing, according to the section 91, is not a term limit, which speaks of a full term, but it is a time being more than limit 3 years. This will not even affect him, and there won't be any need there is for a case a referendum, of Mupungu, to be undertaken. Is this something that is plausible?
I'm sorry to say, it is very stupid. It is very, very awkward reasoning indeed. And let me just, for the benefit of our listeners, let me just read Section 92. Section 92 says the election of a president and 2 vice presidents must take place within the period specified in Section 158. And then that is the period where they say after every 5 years. Then every candidate must choose a running mate. That was repealed. And then the qualifications for registration of a voter and voting at an election of a president and vice president are set out in the 4th schedule. Then the election of president and vice president must take place concurrently with every general election of member of parliament, provincial councils, and authorities. Now, if you remove that, how does this then enable the president to serve more than he is entitled to serve? It does not make sense. And by the way, if you repeal one section and leave other sections, then those 8 sections are not repealed. And repealing section 92 is not repealing section 158, which sets the period within which elections must be done. It does not remove section 128, which says if the effect of an amendment is to lengthen the term of office or the length of holding office, then you need a referendum. It does not remove that. So those who are advocating for that in the so-called BBI document are real. It was really written by amateurs, I should say, or people who thought that they could pull a fast one. There is absolutely no sense in that. Section 328 exists and it has a self-preservation clause. And it says this section 328 seeks to protect how amendments can be done. And then it protects itself from being amended. And it has to be amended in the same way that you amended the Bill of Rights. Now, term of office of president, again, they are making a mistake. And the term of office of president is whether you have served 10 years, whether continuously or not. So if you serve 5 years and then you serve 2 years, you have served as president for 7 years. You have, however, served 1 term, but you have served for 7 years. Now, if you then add some more 5 years, you have served for 12 years. And the Constitution says you can serve a maximum of 10, whether continuously or not. So the so-called BBI document does not make sense. It's an attempt to confuse Zimbabweans. I don't know who the authors were, but they were very, very poor in their interpretation of the Constitution. There is absolutely no way that you can amend this Constitution to provide for a term limit extension and still benefit President Emerson Mnangagwa. Absolutely no way that it can be done legally. Now, people will talk about this Mupungu what case, creation of precedent. The situation is different, and I think when it comes to the issue affecting the president, the Constitutional Court will have to sit, and it is the right to overrule itself if ever we go to litigation. But the aim is not even go to litigation. It is to mobilize Zimbabweans into rejecting this international ignominy, international abomination. So the document, Angle G, does not make sense. And I'm sorry to use bad language against my learned friends or whoever the authors are, but they wrote something really, really stupid.
Right. Another point, another point of contention, or another point of discussion that was put, out there is the one that speaks of explicitity in terms of the duration. The argument propagated by Nyambirai was to say, in your wisdom, as the writers of this, constitution, you were not explicit in terms of the term that the president serves. And there is an argument that says if you wanted it to be a 5-year term, then Section 95 should have been explicit, should have been clear to say that a president serves 5 years. And he's arguing that Section 95 does not speak to a clear and explicit 5-year term period. Is Section 95 watertight on that aspect?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Nyambirai wanted us to say the president must serve 5 years and then another 5 years. No, we are not, we were not amateurs. We said the president is disqualified if he has served a period of 10 years, whether continuous or not. What's not clear about that? 10 years is 2 terms. Now, there is a reason, Angle G, why we did not continue to use term, because we knew there would be people who want to, like what Putin did sometime in Russia, to say he resigns as president, becomes prime minister, then comes back. Our constitution was written after that, and we had that as an example, and we wanted to avoid that. So the Mr. Nyambirai wants us to say the president must serve a period of 5 years, and after that must serve another 5 years. That's not how we, in our wisdom, thought of writing it. We thought of writing it as saying, if you have saved a period of more than of 10 years, whether continuously or in dribs and drabs, you are no longer qualified to stand for president. Now, I have also seen another argument that Mr. Nyambirai and company, very, very, in my respect of view surprising of Mr. Nyambirai. I have known him as a very, very astute legal practitioner indeed, and he has an impressive academic record. I don't know what is wrong with him in this particular manner. There's an argument where we said, except otherwise provided in this constitution.
Oh, yes.
And then they looked at that to say it's permissive of an extension. Now, Angle G and company, I'm sure you've come across in the constitution where we said there can be a vote of no confidence in the president. There can be an impeachment of the president. Now, if the president is impeached in the 3rd year, it means that his presidency ends. So he has been president, his term has been cut to 3 years. That's why what the otherwise means, to avoid a situation where a president who has been impeached says, like Shylock, for a pound of flesh, says, but you have impeached me, but the constitution says my term is 5 years. That's number one. Number two, you have come across provisions in the constitution that may lead to elections being deferred. That is when a country is in a state of war, or when you have a state of a state of emergency that has happened, or in a period of natural disaster. For example, in a period of COVID, for example, where you have COVID and you have so much strict rules, and the Public Health Act comes in, because they say public health overrides everything. So you may end up with a president going for more than 10 years. This is the otherwise provided for in this constitution. It is specific in the constitution, the instances we are talking about. So I don't know why they are misreading that, but it is very, very clear if you read it with all other provisions. So what Mr. Nyambira and company must do is to go to the constitution and look at the clauses that naturally limit a president's term to less than 5 years. That is if he is impeached, or if he is infirm. I mean, he suffers health problems. You have to remove him. Or if there is a public emergency, there is disease, there is famine, there is an extreme emergency. These are extreme cases, and they are spelled out in the Constitution, loud and clear.
Mm, right. You know what? My last questions are going to be okay, guys. I promise this is my last question. Last. But there's a school of thought out there, yeah, which is saying that the explanations like the ones that you've given today in terms of pushing back against what the likes of Nyambirai have said are like a fishing expedition by the regime to then want to try and understand where a legal challenge might emanate from, and by publicly talking about this, they are somewhat or somehow being armed, with or being given the ammunition for them to then respond or push back against a challenge that may come as a result of what they would have done. Is there, is there anything that you can say this discussion is arming, the regime, or this is things, that are clear as daylight, that if they attempt to do this is what is going to be happening, or this is going to be the understanding, or this is going to be, the defense? Is there anything out there, or that you might say, or is there anything that must be hidden in terms of our discussion of such an issue, like this, to say, good, I am satawari ni issue because muno changes. Is this something, that can be pushed?
Handifunge kuti kuvachenjedza as such, it is just warning them of what is clear. And by the way, whether we hide it or not, the law will not change. You see?
Mhm.
But if we hide some of these things, our people may not get a full understanding of what is at issue. So we as Zimbabweans, we don't have to ambush one another. We have to be upfront. And what we have been saying, Professor Maduku Sam did in one of the interviews, that it is an impossibility. I also said something similar, and so on. And we are discussing here. And I know for certain that in this discussion, there are people taking notes to try to ingratiate themselves with the government to say, this is what you are saying. How do we counter that? But what I'm very, very confident with what I'm saying. And that is why I have been referring people to the text of the Constitution, to certain words that are now being put in the Constitution. People are now talking of term limits in the Constitution. That's not what we talk about. in the Constitution, we talk of length of the period that a person is holding public office. It must not be 10 years, more than 10 years. So absolutely no reason to ambush one another. In fact, if I get an opportunity to see President Mnangagwa and I'm able to say this to him, I'll say this to his face. I am an opponent.
Audio Jungle.